25th meeting of the Law, Buildings, and Code Enforcement Committee. This evening, we'll be undertaking discussion of ordinance 126219, an ordinance amending Article 3, tow truck owners and operation of chapter whatever. Okay, the Code of the City of Albany relates to maximum towing charge permitted. This is being introduced by Mr. Flynn, and we'll start with him to give us an overview of his wanting this and need for it. Oh, and first, see I'm rushing so much to get you out of here. Present are members of the committee, Mr. O'Brien, myself, Joe Igo, Ginny Farrell, and Owusu Hanane. Also Richard Conti. So we will take it from...
Thank you all. Thank you all. I just want to start off by saying, for the record, that I'm not the one who's negotiating the contract with the towing companies. That's the mayor's job. My job, I'm just allowing the mayor to negotiate a contract with the towing companies, since they haven't had a raise since 2006. They also haven't had a contract, I believe, in a year or 2 years. They haven't had a contract. So that's the intent. This all started by a year or two ago. I found out that we were having issues with the towing. I said, what's the problem? I called up Dots Garage, I called up Albany Police, and they said, we're having issues getting...
You can come up here if you want. It's hard hearing with the air conditioning. We don't feel like turning them off. So.
I told me we're having trouble with the towing. So I said, well, what's the issue? They were saying that a lot of the other municipalities, the fees are a lot higher. As I've given you guys evidence of the local municipalities, Saratoga is 125, Gildan is 200, Waterville's 175, Schenectady is 150, Colony is 200. So...
Is this, excuse me, is this...
Joey? Oh, come on, Joey. You want to come up? You can come up too, right?
Come on,
Joe, you want to come up? You want to come up here? Sure. This is Joe from Dots Garage.
And then Chief, why don't you can come up here? You probably get some questions.
He's got to come. Yeah, he's got some questions. Yeah. So that's how this all came about. I talked to the towing companies. I talked to the police, and they said that one of the issues was that the fee was so low that the towing companies are going to other municipalities as a priority. So during an emergency, quote me if I'm wrong, Joe, but if during a snow emergency, when the tow...
The last contract, we're under no contract right now?
Right, when was the last contract?
4 years.
Okay, so but you still respond if available for...
Right now, technically, 4 years ago, they said, just go according to what it was, which was a very gray area with me. Then time went by and everything, and I spoke to numerous people, the mayor's office, the law office here, everything.
Yep.
They all informed me that, Joe, we can give you a contract, but everything's going to be exactly the same as what it is. There's no way that we can do anything without approval from the Common Council as far as rates goes, increases, and everything else. So we were kind of like, our hands were like this. You want to be signed to the same thing that you've had for so long where you're almost losing money, where it's getting to that point, or do you just keep going and doing business and hope and pray that something like this will happen and you'll have the ability to have an increase and everything without having your hands tied because you just signed for no reason. It was kind of like this. It's been that way for 4 years.
Okay. So now I'd like to, start with council members.
Oh, you guys want to ask questions?
Wait, is he done? Are you done?
No, I mean...
Am I done?
No.
I just got here.
No. That's an overview, and that was an overview, and we'll start with you if you have questions, and we'll go right down, and then we'll go all the way down to Richard. Okay?
Gotcha. My position with this piece of legislation, I've made it clear, will come as a surprise. I believe that the current tow schedule is enough of a deterrent for individuals that are, committed or not moving their car in a timely manner. Another thing that I would like to say too is that the comparison of other municipalities to the city of Albany is essentially comparing like apples to oranges, right? When you look at the density that the city of Albany have, when you have city towns like Gildan, for example, when you look at how many times the individual tow company might have to go there to tow a car, it's nowhere close to the amount of cars that are being towed here in the city of Albany.
Wait, no, you're good. We'll get back to you after, so...
So again, the people who are going to bear the brunt of this, like I said, will be working families, particularly college students here in our city. The only people that are benefiting from this increase will be the tow companies. This is not something that's needed to balance the budget. We're not providing a single service. And also too, the sponsor actually said too that the only person that can negotiate this type of contract is the mayor's office. I would like to ask you, have you spoken to the mayor about this?
No.
Okay, you have not spoken to the mayor about this. Again, even if we pass this, it will be up to Corporation Council and the mayor to make that decision if they want. So if we could pass this, then the mayor could still say, no, we're not doing it. We're not covering the contract. Second thing too is that I noticed, although you guys are not, the tow companies are not under contract, they're still being, tow companies are still towing residents here in the city of Albany. That has not changed. And I believe that that's a broader conversation that we need to also have. Why, even under the contract, why are people not coming here to do business with the city? And also another conversation that I would like to open moving forward is that maybe the city of Albany need to look at ways, maybe we need to get in the towing company business. We need to have a space where we could pick up pick up cars that is going to, if there's an emergency, it relates to snow or someone car, maybe police officers or even DGS to find a space to have a towing department in the city. So that's another conversation that I'm going to look forward to having. Again, like I said, the current fee structure of the $100 max is enough of a deterrent. And it's not just $100. When the car's towed, there's days that it has to be there. That's another fee that someone will have to pay. And very too often, many people, 70% of Albany residents are living paycheck to paycheck. So if someone...
Where's that data? That's
7% of residents here in the city of Albany are living paycheck to paycheck.
No, that's not true.
If we increase this and there's an emergency, it could be catastrophic. I've witnessed people that have gone into homelessness. There are individuals that have emailed me because of some of the fees that they have to pay when their cars are in the tow shop. So again, I will be voting no, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same, and I will have more questions.
Can you answer that?
Can I speak for 1 second?
No.
Oh, you're still gonna answer all the
Yeah,
questions
we're going
then?
to ask them, yeah.
So you're not gonna
Well,
answer?
can I respond to
How does
something?
the
You should answer his
Yeah,
question.
I understand, let him
Yeah,
respond.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay,
hear what he-
go ahead.
Number one, you are correct about college kids. You have to realize that the volume, there's probably about 200,000 college kids that come into this area that don't live here whatsoever. They infiltrate last week into Albany, St. Rose, everything else. None of these people reside in Albany County. None of these people pay Albany County taxes. None of that. They don't live here. They're here temporarily. And then also, when the semester is over with, they leave. So the volume decreases all summer long when all these college students and everybody from Long Island and everything are all gone. The living from paycheck to paycheck, there's people all over the place that live paycheck to paycheck.
No, it's
Colony has become a absentee rental place and such like that. Number two, Albany is the lowest priced towing, and it's the lowest priced storage anywhere within the tri-city, whatever area that you want to expand and look at. Okay, there's none lower than Albany.
I thought Troy was 25.
No, Troy is,
It's 125.
Troy's 120.
No, storage fee. You said this.
Oh, the storage fees.
Storage fee.
I think Troy's 35.
It says 25.
25.
It says 25.
I believe it's 35, but there's no
But then it would be the
kickback.
same.
But there's no kickback, okay, in Troy, there's no kickback. And one thing that I
He's
had
talking
said,
That's a-
so for
that's a
every
bad
tow,
word. That's a bad word.
for every city tow, they pay the.
it is what it is.
Oh, I
So
got
if
it.
they,
That's
if
the
the towing
contract.
fee's 125, they
So
pay
that is-
25 back.
Apples and apples here. Because that's one of my arguments. One of my arguments is if you are so concerned about the impact of families who live in paycheck to paycheck, the Albany Police Department has already eliminated a whole traffic division. Used to be on Central Avenue. The people used to go to traffic. They would do their legal claims with Albany, with the Albany Traffic Division. They would have a release form and bring the release form up to Dot's Garage or whatever tow company, because they've already settled all their business with the Albany Police, and they would pay their tow. Now, Albany has eliminated there was probably at least 25 to 30 people working in that office. Now, we, as the tow companies, have to be the Albany Police Department. People walk into my office have not been calmed down by the Albany police because they got towed for a DWI, parking tickets, scofflaw, unregistered vehicle. Now it has been thrown upon us for the last 5 or 6 years to make sure that you paid all your parking tickets, you have a printed a printed receipt to make sure that your car is registered, you have a valid registration to show me, to make sure you're the registered owner, la-di-dee, la-di-da. We as tow companies have become a police department now also. And I hate to tell you, I get death threats probably 5 or 6 times a week because of the fact that people haven't had that buffer to calm them down, to realize that it's not the tow company who just went out and towed your car because you had unregistered or anything else like that. It was the police officer who did this, and then the repercussion from that is from us. That is one thing that we have not been compensated for. I've had the Colony Police, I have an emergency button right on my counter that I hit numerous times, because of people who are irate. Not because Dot's Garage, not because their car got towed, but by the Albany Police Department, not by Dot's Garage. You know, that's one thing that's my major qualm here, that has been assumed that Albany has saved thousands of dollars by eliminating these people who used to have to work there and do all this. Now it's all brought on to us. And with that, if you wanted to not jeopardize the working person, eliminate the $25 that I have to give you for every tow. Keep the tow price the same, and life goes on. We get a $25 increase. Nothing happens from anything. Please give us that, because we're doing the work for the Albany Police Department, and then I'm paying you for doing your job.
Can you verify all that he said was true about the paperwork? Is it mostly now on?
It is on them. It used to go to traffic,
Now,
but they bulldoze traffic, and
most
traffic has a total of 4 people in it. 1 sergeant, 1 lieutenant, 4 cops, 1 sergeant, 1 lieutenant.
So the grunt of the work now is on tow.
There used to be a line down Central Avenue for people to wait and get their car released during snowstorms. They had overtime up the wazoo by police guys who had to stay in there and release every single car. That responsibility falls 100% on the tow company. We have to make sure every paperwork lines up, every person's all la-di-dee, whatever they put on there, it falls on to us. Everything comes on to us.
Is Albany the only municipality you do that for?
Yes.
What's the question?
Is Albany the only municipality that does all the paperwork?
So I have a few questions.
First,
Is it
did you want to
urgent?
respond to any of that, everything? You have any problems with what he said?
No, it's true. You used to have to go to traffic to get your car released and pay your scofflaw and do all of
And
this
it
stuff.
still has to go through all
And
that?
then Chief Krokoff, when he knocked down traffic, that stuff all.
So now go right to the record of Dots, or whoever.
Yeah. I mean, you still pay your tickets and stuff in here or online,
Right.
but they have to verify all that stuff.
Okay, hold on.
So you pay a ticket, you say you pay a ticket online, or you pay?
You pay your tickets, so you either come down to see Mr. Van Applejohn downstairs, or the treasurer, or you can do it online. You can pay
But that's
tickets
just for
online. You can
parking.
pay parking tickets online.
Right. I'm talking about
So you're not,
arrests,
City Hall is open
everything.
all the time, so, I mean, traffic safety was open, I mean, Central, you were there all the time, basically, right?
Amanda?
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So if you can't pay a ticket after hours, you really can't get your car.
No, I'm not,
Or is that, I mean, just trying to get
Yeah.
that right now.
Well, Albany Parking, I think you can pay
you can
online.
You can
and-
pay, so I know like if you get a boot, you can pay, you can do
Yeah.
all that stuff online now.
Yeah, but you have to have a printed receipt. That's my job is to make sure they have the printed receipt to match up the scofflaw.
When you say your job, my first impression is it shouldn't really. or
Shouldn't
you
be my
don't-
job.
Shouldn't be your job.
Thank
No,
you, thank you. Yeah, you're correct.
That's my
You are
thing,
correct.
you know.
They should come
And-
and release to you, and you should release the car, because,
That's how it used to work.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I get death
So
threats 5
I
times a
just,
week.
if I
Okay,
could just
let's-
ask.
Yeah, so I
Go
didn't
ahead.
first in there, sorry.
So you had mentioned that you've not discussed the mayor's office, with the mayor's office of this at all, so we don't know the stance of the mayor's office.
Well, I think
Well,
it's been.
I think
it's
she's-
been
Well,
in favor.
they're trying to do a contract, but they're not negotiating because they're not going any higher.
Well, to me, this is, I feel like this legislation, to me, what would make the most sense is for the mayor's office to go through the negotiation process and then come to the council. Because right now, I mean, like, you're a businessman, if I had somebody come to me and say, I could double your fees, why would you negotiate anything else, honestly?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, so right now, we're saying to you, instead of saying like, we want 125 like Saratoga and Troy have, or maybe 150 like Schenectady, we're saying we want the top.
Marissa Franchini last year told me that I had to change legislation first.
Yeah, we
That was
were,
the mayor's office.
I mean,
Marissa and I was
that
dealing
to
with
me makes absolutely no sense.
I was told-
And I
I was
would
going by
love,
Marissa.
to me, I think that before we actually pass this through, that's a discussion
You
we
got
should
the
have with the
contract
mayor's
first?
office. Because why on earth, or at least negotiate the contract first, and then come to us? Because why would we have, we're not part of the negotiation
We're just making the
process.
max. I don't care what.
But why would you
Can I just say-
negotiate anything other, like, why would you accept anything other
I
than
was,
the max?
I was told by the legal department and the mayor's department that I cannot do anything
Until
until
the legislation
it
gets
goes
passed.
from you.
That's right.
I mean, I
That's
would.
what I was told too.
So the legislation, okay, we're
That's why
saying,
I'm here.
we're saying up to.
I,
That's
to
what
me,
this legislation says,
that
right?
makes absolutely no business sense.
That's what I was told. And
I'm
that's
not
the reason
blaming
why I was-
you
That's
at
what
all.
Marissa Franchini told me
And
last
I
year.
honestly wouldn't blame you at all. Like, if I was a business person, I'd go on and be like, I know I can get $200.
I think we get
You know,
distracted also,
I wouldn't
too.
blame you for that. But why would we put ourselves as a city in that position? It makes absolutely no sense.
Just going by what Marissa
And I
told me.
think that the
Yep.
mayor's office is something like, why would, I think that one could say, you know, exactly what are you talking about? That, why would we do that where we have to, we're like knocking ourselves out at the knees with any negotiation? It has to go through legislation. So you want to hit the highest bar possible? It doesn't make any sense. And then, is there any legislation needed to discuss taking that fee out? I mean, that's the other
Contract?
thing.
That's the contract.
No, not
That's the contract.
The fee
That's the
for the
contract.
city. So
That's part of the
again,
contract.
Legislation, I think.
Has nothing to do with
that
legislation.
would make
negotiate
sense
that.
to me
I-
to have that piece come out for, you know, then do that. But why we're doing like the top things, like, I just.
We are
it's
doing what we were told.
complete-
Yeah, I'm just going by
I-
what Marissa
I
told me
will
and the
say-
mayor's office told you.
You know, like,
They told you to max it to 200?
They didn't give me a number.
So
They
the
just said
fee,
you have
the fee
to.
is set by common council.
I think that this
Yes.
is a
Yeah.
really terrible way to do
Yes,
business.
because if, right now, if she does not agree, she's gonna veto it, okay? And then where do we stand? Negotiation, override? If we do override.
But also too, I think we're getting distracted. Where's the data saying that the tow truck companies are not there? Like,
Tell them about
where's-
last year's snow emergency.
Where's the?
Oh, yeah, here, I'll tell you right now.
Where's the data? Where's the?
Hold on.
Right after, right
Can I ask a question?
And that's
I just want
conversation.
to, I'll get you real quick. Last year, we got 2 snowstorms in a row.
Yeah, okay.
Back to back. There was, one storm was like 12 inches, the next storm was like 15 inches. We just barely had enough people there to clear a little bit of the one snowstorm. Then the next day, bam, we got hit with another snowstorm. Albany went on TV, announced a snow emergency, the whole 9 yards. Well, by the time everybody was supposed to meet up, most of the tow companies had already dedicated their trucks over to other places that were paying, and a total of 6, maybe 5 tow trucks showed up to tow the whole city of Albany. So Albany immediately turned off the snow emergency and didn't really just went with their
So there's
crews.
no
and
cars were
did-
towed?
No cars were towed and no streets were plowed at all. You know, DOT, when you don't tow the cars, the snowplow guys sit there and wait. Everybody waits. So you're costing you money by trying not to do what you're supposed to do. A plow cannot go down a one-way street with a car on this side and a car on that side. It's physically impossible to plow that road. Until one of the cars get moved, you can't plow it. You got streets like Morris, Myrtle, all that other stuff, and it takes time. These people got snowed in and they couldn't move their car, even if they wanted to. So therefore, that's why we come in there, we pull the cars out and let the things go through there. But what's happening is people are going to other places, and you can't blame them. You know, you go to somewhere else and tow 30 cars at $200 a car, and go to Albany and tow maybe 8 cars at $125 because everybody's knocking on doors and moving cars, and we're all just sitting there.
Okay.
Can you
We're all
verify,
just
can you
sitting.
verify the snow emergency with them?
So I don't come in for snow emergencies. I don't know if it was last year, but I know the year before I had to come in because Curran was off and the traffic sergeant was new, so I had to come in. And we, I don't know, we got like 8 tow trucks and DGS canceled its They were waiting too long, so just.
They should cancel snow emergency because they're.
But I don't know if that happened last year.
I can tell you, this is the first time I'm hearing this instance.
Well, that's
And
right.
it happened last fall, like why it wasn't like communicated to us about this situation that was happening, why we have to wait? Well, so.
Nobody
Yeah,
ain't what
Mike.
it used to be, that's
Michael,
why.
can Michael O'Brien have a few
Yeah,
minutes?
I have a couple of questions. So the police department, do they have an opinion as to whether we should raise the maximum fee in the ordinance?
So myself and Lieutenant Kerwin, probably for the last, I've been the traffic commander for 4 years. The last couple of years, so we had went down there, Marissa, to ask like how this whole process works, and she told us that it had to be, the fees needed to be raised through the Common Council, set in law. Right.
So is there a recommendation that it should be raised, coming
I
from officials in the city of Albany?
I think it should be raised. I think, I have no opinion on that $25 fee. But I do know, so I work days. Snow emergency usually at night. So last year we had to tow Myrtle Avenue during a shift I was actually here.
Yeah.
There was cars parked on both sides, the snow everywhere, and the fire trucks and stuff couldn't get up and down the street. And it took us 8 hours to tow one side of Myrtle Avenue because they only got 4 tow trucks. So
Which is a
they
safety
hook
concern.
up, they leave, and then you sit there. And you
So
wait
that's
for
a
them to come
safety
back.
concern.
And it just
That was
took
brought to my
all day.
attention.
It took the whole shift.
Okay.
One
So-
street, one street.
One street.
So-
Myrtle Avenue's a long street, but it took all day.
So what I'm hearing from you is that the legal department, in the person of Marissa Franchini, has at least recommended conceptually that it should be raised. We don't know how
I'm
much.
not saying that. What
Oh.
I'm saying is when I asked how we get the fees raised,
Okay.
she said you had to go through the Common Council.
And then the mayor's office clearly told you that this is a council decision.
Right.
And the legal department told me the same
And
thing.
the legal department told you the same.
I was the one that told him to call
Marissa,
everybody, because he bounced around the city and eventually got me,
Now,
which is why I went to Marissa, and I was like,
Okay.
I have a couple more questions.
Take your time.
So some of the other cities charge less than $200.
Yep.
And do you have any problems dealing with them and getting paid and not getting?
absolutely not.
Okay. So if it were to be raised to make things work smoother, it wouldn't necessarily have to be up to $200.
Correct.
Correct.
And this concept of you have to pay the city $25 out of the $35 that the people pay you for storage, did I understand that
It's
correct?
$25 for every car that's towed.
Oh, not for the duration of storage?
No, just for tow.
So you have me written down as my tow being $125. By actuality, my tow is $100. The city, no matter what, if the car doesn't get picked up, if it does get picked up, no matter what, they get $25 every single car we tow.
Back to the city.
The dollying fee?
No, that's
No.
right,
I'm
that's,
just looking at what's.
It's part of the contract.
Dollying is
No,
storage,
that's a
isn't
different, that's a
it?
different fee.
no, the 25 is not under any fees. It's not a fee that we charge the people. Our set price is $125 for the tow, minus $25 for the city.
Rich,
Is
that's
that
part of,
part
that's,
of the
that's,
fine?
that's part of the $22, part of the 22-page contract the city has with them.
it's like a revenue line for the city. So
Yes.
if the tow was $1 million, the city gets 25. It's 125 is the fee if you get towed, and whatever extra other added stuff they put on there, like if they dolly it, I guess that's an extra fee.
So that
The
125
city
is
gets,
really
the
only
city
on
gets
It's part of
25.
the contract.
Yeah, but do we know how much the city gets every year for that?
a lot.
It would be down, it would be down.
All right, hold on.
Should be in a
Jumping
revenue.
everybody else here. Michael, hold it. We're all going over, speaking of once. Michael, are you finished? or you-
So Albany is the only city that gets a $25 rebate per tow,
Correct.
which you do. And that's nowhere in the statute. They just
No,
throw
that's part of
that
the
into.
contract between
They throw that into the
the towing
contract.
company and the mayor's office. It's in a 22-page contract.
The same mayor's office that says we're supposed to resolve the problem.
Okay, Michael?
Well,
Read that contract?
I guess, yeah, I'm finished asking questions. I have some thoughts.
All right, so I'm trying to understand where that authority comes from, actually. So, the code says
I
that
get the
the
contract.
tow fee is 100, and then there is an additional flat fee of $25 for dollying.
No,
what would be?
No.
That's what the code says.
No, that's only, matter of fact,
Storage fee. You're talking about storage fee.
is $35.
Yeah, 30.
After the first
Then there's
24
an
hours.
additional 35, no, actually, the code has different things. It says you get $100 to tow, $25 for the dialing of the vehicle may be imposed. An additional charge is $55 now for winching, and then it's $35 a day for storage.
Yeah, but Rich, that may not be part of their contract.
But that's
That may be
what-
what the legislation says.
I cannot charge for dollies. I cannot charge for winching. The tow fee is $125, and storage is $35 a day after I store it for 24 hours. 24 hours for free. Under my contract, I cannot charge extra for dollies.
Get the contract.
Yeah,
I
so
can-
that might be where the $25 comes from.
I cannot charge extra for winching. I cannot
Sorry.
charge extra for
That
cleanup.
$25
Hazardous
that might be
materials, that's a
where the
whole nother subject.
$25 that the city comes from, I think.
Oh, I'm hearing, I wouldn't be bidding on it.
I'm telling you.
We've gotten a fee, I've been a policeman for 25 years, and that fee, it hasn't always been $25, but
Yeah, okay.
it's been in there the entire time I've been here.
But you also get $55 for the winching fee?
No.
You don't get
No,
that?
I'm not allowed to charge winching. I'm not allowed to charge dollies. I'm not allowed to charge for a flatbed for every four-wheel drive vehicle, all-wheel drive vehicle, whatever. I am not. I cannot charge a person no more than $125.
To be honest, it looks like there's flexibility in what's currently in the code, that if the city wanted to increase the amount, they could allow for a winching fee.
Winching,
Which would be an additional $55 per hour, which would just be 55. No one else has that, but they probably have flexibility right now to negotiate a contract that is more than just a $100 flat fee.
And obviously, they don't want
Without
to,
us coming
so-
back to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I mean, I think what, discussions had with Jack is, it should go back down there, it should be negotiated there, like every other negotiation, but, how long do you just go without?
But I'm saying there's permissive authorization for fees in here that they're not being charged right now, that can be charged if the city wanted to include that in the contract, which would give them additional funding for their contract.
The winching stuff, that doesn't occur only on car. If you get a car that's off in the road or something, you have to winch it out.
Yep, okay.
That's why that's additional.
Alright.
Dollies are not used anymore. Dollies are flatbeds now. Dollies got replaced by a flatbed truck where you pull the truck up and you carry it. Before, you had to put the wheels in the front up and put dollies on the back to lift all four wheels up and go. So they're no longer
yeah,
existing.
I don't even see, a lot of other places don't even charge a winching fee.
Winching fee for the car rolls over, you gotta flip it back over. That's a winching fee. Car
But you
goes-
don't get anything for that.
No, not in Albany.
What's the difference in terms of the volume? I mean, do these other, just in comparison, I mean, do you have the same volume in Gilderland? Do you have contracts with all of these cities?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes. The Albany is a little bit more, yes, but there's a lot more work. I mean, I have to pay someone to just be solely in Albany.
Per your contract.
Per my contract. When the phone rings at 8 o'clock, I want a car, I want a tow truck here, I have 15 minutes to be from there to there. I can't have a guy in Saratoga telling these guys that he's gonna be there in 15 minutes. So I gotta pay one person to stay here to cover this, and then pay another person to go to Saratoga. So I'm obligated to have someone here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what, because if that phone rings, I gotta be there. And if I don't do that, I lose my spot on a rotation, then I lose my spot on a contract. All those things are put in there that if I do not get there in time, they can eliminate me.
Do the other cities have similar?
Yes, they all have, state police is 25 minutes. Colony police is 20 minutes, Guilderland is 20 minutes. Albany's 15.
In a snowstorm, that's tough.
It's eliminated now down to Pearlman's, us,
Roberts doesn't tow anymore.
Roberts doesn't really tow for anymore.
Robert's still in the contract though.
They're still on the contract, but they've got so much other lucrative business now that they're down by the Port of Albany that they refuse. They blatantly refuse. Central Towing, and I think that's it, isn't it? Dawson's.
Colvin, but they're Colvin and,
Yeah, that's another thing that I'm in
Colvin
charge
and
of.
somebody, they're both the same company.
That's an illegal company, as far as I'm concerned. An illegal
We're
company.
working on that one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But no, it's, and now with us, that's where we are because we're all right there. we've already lost people. Dawson's has no longer towed for Albany Police or nothing no more. It's not worth it for them.
Is this the only contract is with Dots?
Roberts, no, we're all.
No, it's Roberts.
Well, you've had
Dots.
Roberts up to like towing, so that's.
Wait, is there any
They do
contracts
tow,
current?
but
They refuse
none of
it.
the contracts are current.
So right now, there are no contracts are current.
Right.
Were all contracts done at the same time?
They're all done at the same time, they've
all expired.
I usually send, used to be Romano, but I usually send somebody
Yeah.
out to each place.
So they've all been expired for like 4 years or 3 years or whatever?
Well, Corp Council, like a year or
Extended
two ago,
roads.
extended it, but then it expired again.
Okay.
So, okay, so we have no contracts with anyone, but we can still call companies in
We still do.
based on what the current.
And now it's like if they want to come,
They can come. It's
they
a
can
choice.
come.
With no penalty.
For routine, this is coming from Carl, because this is like I said, I don't really do this anymore, but for a normal routine tow, if your car broke down or something over there, a tow truck will show up. We tend to have our big problems when, like, for Larkfest, we'll be towing a bunch of cars, and if we don't get enough tow trucks, you'll be there all day, and then you know, Larkfest starts when it starts, so if we don't get the cars out, we just leave them, then your car's stuck in the middle of it.
Commander, I just have a question.
So can I?
hold on, let's go back there. You know, I want to comment too at some point,
Yeah.
but go ahead. We're gonna-
Oh, I was just going to suggest,
I mean,
I
my area.
want to answer the question that you had. Albany was at one time towing cars for the city.
Since the 80s, they
And
split.
Chief McCardle was the police chief at that time. And my dad and chief were friends, and I remember this because I was working there. The chief came to my father and said, listen, he says, they keep jumping over my fence, busting into the cars, stealing everything out of the cars, damaging the cars, and suing the city. The car owner sued the city. He goes, we have a stack of lawsuits of this from people who we impound their cars, and while they're in the impound lot, this gets damaged, they get damaged, towed, and everything. So the liability that the city would have to assume to tow all these vehicles, store all these vehicles, pay people, all that other stuff is, you can tally the numbers.
Well, we're gonna do a study on that.
You
That
know,
was back in the 80s.
You can
Central
tally
Office.
the numbers. Albany already did that, and they were more than willing, grateful, thank you, everything to eliminate that, and just now collect the fee or whatever and go from there.
I have faith in my police department and the.
And it's also the legal
So do I. Maybe we're up
responsibility,
to,
the insurance.
We're down 50 officers and
Well, that's
4
not an
guys on the streets, whatever.
But just really,
That's
is
enough.
this being supported by the police chief?
Who's that?
I don't think
Who
we
is
can
that?
say that.
Well, I'm here representing the chief of police, so
It's just yes or no question. Is
I have no
it-
idea. He didn't give me any,
So the police chief and the mayor has.
Well, first of all, the chief of police has only lived here for, that's not.
That's what I.
He doesn't know the
Okay,
history.
Real, okay.
He doesn't know the history.
He
I can
doesn't-
tell you the
police chief
deputy,
doesn't know the
but for the
history.
record, the deputy
The
chiefs
police-
are in favor of it.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'll
I'm just
say
asking,
that.
so if the police chief hasn't given you any information
he's
saying
not
that,
giving me any direction.
any direction that he's supporting this piece of legislation, the mayor's office haven't given you any information that they support this. And where's this matter that your claims that these people are not, people cars aren't being told? Like,
He just told you there was a safety issue last year
Where's the
because
consti-
cars
where's the
couldn't get towed.
constituent?
Fire trucks couldn't
Whoa,
go
whoa, whoa,
down.
whoa. All right.
He just told you that. They just said, right? Am I right or wrong?
where?
Fire
the
trucks
data
cannot
to your
get down,
claims?
right, during
Where's
a
your
storm,
data?
you see.
I'm just
Now
asking
back
for
to
the
my
data.
turn.
I just want to see the data.
Now back to my turn.
So just on the record, the police chief has not made a decision.
Hey! you
He
cut
probably
off
doesn't
from
know
that.
about the legislation.
He doesn't know about the legislation. Go on, go on.
We were told to come to you first before.
My biggest concern overall, okay, nothing to do with the money, it's public safety.
Exactly.
How do we get the job done?
That's exactly
Okay?
why I'm here.
If we have streets, okay, blocked off, fire trucks can't down, ambulance can't down in snowstorms, it's bad. It's very bad. That's the concern, and that's the concern everybody has to put in mind. Then the next, okay, is it affordable, this and, okay? Let's just, we all have to just be realistic on it. What is fair to everybody, okay? And what's gonna keep our towing going so that we avoid a catastrophe in some, you know, whatever, it's a snowstorm, it's the trees coming down, whatever, you know what I mean? That's what, now, for us to get to the mayor to the table, we can't negotiate it, okay? And there's questions on whether, what we do with this piece of legislation. I think Marissa should be able to write it where
Yeah.
there's no figures in it.
We're not
It's-
disputing
you know,
that.
you know what, well then, no. Maybe we need something where there's timeframes where contracts have to be negotiated, and put it in law. I don't know, but we gotta get this done somehow. It's not up to us, it's not up, and you know that. You just wanna bring it to light that we don't, okay? Maybe we'd be better off with a resolution. We do an ordinance, and it gets vetoed. And we say, well, we urged, whatever, the executive branch or something to go into some negotiation. I don't
That's
know.
what I was wondering, if it's, I totally understand.
Does-
It's the nature of the world, like you.
I've been 2 years.
Well, I don't know. I think I have a big issue on voting for something without a recommendation from the mayor's office.
Or the police chief.
I think that this shouldn't come from us. I
maybe should you
understand from your
request
that?
perspective.
Should the common council request that or something? Because I've been
That's
for 2
what my
years.
question would
2
be.
years I've been going through this.
Guys, we're getting off base again, one at a time. We aren't gonna keep crisscrossing here.
That's what my question is there, can we send a letter or something? We're not, not only
Haven't heard from
are
you.
we not negotiating it, but,
Has this been brought up at the leadership meetings? That's the place for it? The council can?
Yeah, we'll go through it. The only thing is just to make the administration make clear they're not advocating for an increase.
For any increase?
well,
Say, we are not advocating.
I think that we should have something official, because if that's the kind of thing where,
Then
I think, to me, my concern with all of this is the actual negotiation needs to come from the mayor's office. And so they should make, along with, of course, the police department, but we should get a recommendation from the mayor's office and the police department. If they are uncomfortable going on record because it's unpopular, then guess what? They're in the wrong line of business.
I don't think the mayor wants it, I assume.
That's just the way
Thank
it
you.
is.
The mayor's not advocating for it.
So why should we put the onus on us to kind of increase?
Because that's what we were told
So
to
you
do.
want us to increase
Yeah,
it, but the
no,
person
no.
that's negotiating doesn't want to do it. So you just throw the council under the bus.
That's politics.
Amanda, write this the right way, so.
I've been 2 years with this, 2 years of exactly what you're saying now.
So,
That's, I don't know if that's unrecorded.
Joe, you said public safety is a major concern.
Public safety is my biggest concern.
Oh, I
I
totally
just
agree.
want to say this
I
about
totally
public
agree
safety
with you.
too. I believe that also. I've witnessed several times where the fire department, if they really have to move a car because of an emergency, they have done it.
Yeah, but not down the whole street, say Myrtle Avenue from,
If there's an emergency where a car is really needed to be moved,
That's one car versus.
How are they gonna move it?
Average price of a car
How?
nowadays.
Wait,
is
he's got that.
60,000.
When they done it? When have they done it?
I witnessed it in my office.
Oh, please. He said the fire department has towed a car.
all right, what are the
I told them
recommendations?
moved it.
How do they move it? They damage it?
Someone's gonna move my brand new Lexus that just cost me $70,000. So the moment we hook up to that vehicle, the moment I put a chain on it, I am responsible for that vehicle 110%. Nothing comes back on the city, nothing ever, if any damage is done, if there's a scratch on it, whatever, it all comes down onto the tow companies. We are responsible. My insurance is astronomical, okay? A tow truck costs $110,000 before you do anything to it.
Okay.
The numbers are outrageous.
I want to,
Mike, you have a question?
No, I have a recommendation.
hold on, no, we can't before we have public comment.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
public comment. Amanda, are you just sitting reporting? Do you have anything to comment on? I know Parkins.
Please don't talk over one another, I can't understand.
Hey, we invited you to come up here.
There's a lot on there.
Alana, you're on here. Keith, any? I'll put you on the list if you wanna.
The only comment I probably want to add is it sounds like the tow truck guy knows what he's talking about. And I understand what you're saying about public safety. But why isn't this fee to the city being raised as well?
It has been.
It's not being discussed in this, not in this legislation.
No,
A
but
$100 fee going to
If we put it to 200,
the
you guys
city
increase that.
portion is not going.
Because we know we'll never get 200.
Well, then make it a percentage.
But I can tell you one thing, the Albany got an increase in their fee, and we did not get an increase in our towing. That happened about 8 years ago. They went from $15 a car to $25 a car, and they never rose the price of what we could collect. That happened.
No, didn't it go, the tow went from either 75 or 85 to 100?
That was 2000.
Was that 2000?
2006 is the last time this legislation got
I
changed.
can't remember, but I know it went up.
Yeah, it probably went from 2006 from 85 to 100.
Okay.
Well, then I would just say make it a little bit more fair on both sides.
You hit on something, well, but that, again, we can't negotiate a percentage. You could do a percentage of what's out there, what, this and that. I don't know.
Well,
But
just
again,
as
it's
in,
not,
and then maybe some sort of a chart that's good for 5 years or something, with an annual increase or something. Just to give alternatives.
well, it is, where there are steps, whatever, so much, 1%, 2%, 2.5% for a year, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, $5 increase, $10 increase, something. Something like that. I'm just throwing out, thoughts.
If it was up to us, we would consider something like that if we were negotiators.
Right. Well, that's all I'm saying.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
It just sounds like there's avenues that could be better talked about.
if the people would talk.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alana?
Alana Klein, 29 Glenwood, 12208, now 12203. I have severe reservations about this legislation, and to Mr. Flynn's credit, we have met twice over this to discuss it. And as I said at the Public Safety Committee meeting on Thursday, I respect that. I'm not his constituent, but he's willing to hear me out to voice my concerns. No disrespect to you, sir, but I have always found tow companies, the way they practice, to be predatory. That's the only way I can describe it. And to increase a fee against people that live in downtown neighborhoods, that live on two-way streets that might not have areas to park their cars in a tow emergency, I think is extremely unfair. One thing, or a couple things that Mr. Flynn and I discussed during our meetings is potentially revising this legislation to allow for
Payments.
Yeah, to allow for payments or to allow for grace periods. Like if someone gets their car towed and can't make the payment, but they make a good faith effort to show up to the tow company and say, hey, look, this is my situation, allowing for a grace period of up to a week or something like that until they get paid. But my concern with this legislation is mainly that tow companies, when you can't pay a fee and your car is essentially held hostage and you're additionally charged a storage fee, that's essentially a tax on being poor. So,
Comment after this.
I know, yeah.
so that's my main concern with this legislation. I'm not against you getting paid, sir, but my concern is that it will negatively affect poor communities disproportionately compared to upper class communities. Thank you.
One thing I'd just like to clear up, okay? I think the statement made was unfair about, and don't take it personal, no. I don't think it's a predatory, it's not like these guys can roam around and pick up cars like where you post it on private property, that might be predatory, okay? Whatever
Right,
that
like the Elks.
garage is over there, that to me is predatory, you're going looking for things, okay?
Right.
I don't think a service that under contract with the city is predatory at all, and I do believe.
I do agree.
Yeah, and I do believe that the other thing, I mean, it sounds nice as far as, a little bit at a time or whatever, but what happens after a man provides a service and he can't get paid? And you just let it go.
I go out of business.
Is the city going to then pay it? Because there's a contract that he gets paid for. And if, so I don't think we can go that route, but.
No,
All right, public comment is now closed.
As
Okay.
far as,
I want to ask him a question about the tow.
what this gentleman had to say about, a grace period and then being charged storage and stuff. I listened to a gentleman not recently who told me he had a problem with his taxes. The IRS and paying his taxes. He had lost his job and he was in financial trouble and he had owed $3,000 in taxes to the IRS. Well, the IRS also on top of that charged him fees, interest, and filing stuff on top of the original $3,000 that he already owed. So by the time he got done paying, he paid $6,000. And there was no grace period, there was no leniency or nothing. And this is the United States government that is doing this. So, we have a 24-hour.
I just got a question.
There's a 24-hour period where there's no storage fee whatsoever. And I can honestly tell you, speaking for me and everybody else, I would much rather have somebody come and pick up their car and pay whatever it is for it, rather than me not getting paid whatsoever and getting liable to hold the car there for 4 months and not get paid any money, and then take a chance of sending it to the junkyard without having repercussions from anybody because I junked their car because it's set for 4 months and haven't heard from them. And then you send it to the junkyard and miraculously they show up on your garage saying, "Where's my car?" "Oh, I was intending to get that car out, but it's been 4 months, I haven't heard from you." So if I wasn't able to do that, I'd have cars piled on top of cars. So as far as the grace period goes and all that other stuff, that always happens. It happens every single day of the year. But 9 times out of 10, people come there and they get their cars out. If they get towed, they come
I
get
got
their
a
cars
question
and
for
they
you
go on.
on the Linus question.
Other
If your
than-
car gets towed on a Friday night for unregistered, do you charge a storing fee until Monday since the government's not open?
First 24 hours are free.
So you would
After
charge-
that, there is a charge.
Even though the
We
customer
are,
can't go get their
well,
car?
I have to have someone able, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He's got 25 minutes to get back to the garage to release the car to that person. Okay, it can be 3 o'clock in the morning and someone can call the number and say, "I'm here to get my car." You have to get up out of bed, drive over to the garage and release the car. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As far as the government, I can't do what they do. Also, wait a minute, hold on, another question on that. If your car is towed for unregistered and you can't get it registered till Monday, if you have a driveway or any parking that's not on the city, you can have your car towed from the tow facility and brought to there and not pay any storage. So it's not like your car is in prison. You can, by law, have an unregistered car towed, and also they can bring their own tow dolly, they can bring their own tow truck. It doesn't have to be towed by us, but we're not putting handcuffs on them just because DMV is not open on the weekend.
All right, that's,
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get last,
Actually,
from Jenny has to leave, can we let her talk for you?
Are we talking about any sort of?
Well, I don't see us coming up with any solution.
I have a
tonight.
question. Is there?
Hold, she's gotta go, that's why I want to answer her question.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure before I left that there wasn't any proactive thing needed from me.
No, and who do we have missing tonight? We don't have-
Mike, you said that you had an idea for this or a recommendation?
Oh, well, I had a couple of suggestions. I mean, obviously, we're in the dark as to why the city contract is what it is, requiring kickbacks, why they direct...
Fees.
Yeah,
Fees,
we gotta
excuse
say
me.
fees.
Why they direct you to come to us as if we can solve the problem. We could raise it to $1,000 towing fee, and
Right.
they may not give you a
Yeah, yeah.
contract that gives
Right.
you $100.
And it might as well write "bang head" here, right on the wall.
Yeah,
That's
so,
where it's been-
so I
that's what
would
it's been
think,
for
I
2
I would
years.
like to hear something from the mayor's office if they're willing to
Yeah, I
talk
mean,
to
that's,
us.
Well, is there any way that maybe you can put it in
Well, you
writing
know
and
what?
send them a letter or something? Because
I think our leaders can
I
bring,
have
our
got-
leaderships can bring that up
Yeah,
at
I
the
mean,
council meeting
that's
and
what I
said,
would
you know.
like
I have
as
got
well.
table right now?
I feel like we need a
I'll make a
recommendation
motion.
from the mayor's office.
I hear a motion
Well,
to table it at this point for further, is that what, did I hear you say that?
I don't make a motion to table it. I think this bill needs to die in this committee. I'm not tabling it.
We tried, last time I had a bill tabled in this committee, someone brought it up for a vote afterwards.
They discharge, so he could do it. He could do discharge out of committee then.
No, I thought you.
It wasn't me.
I thought you brought something.
It wasn't me.
to that, one of the
No,
Parkinson's.
it wasn't me.
So,
you're really-
hold on, there's,
We have our leadership meeting tomorrow.
would you?
Could we-
All right.
yeah,
It has to go somewhere.
I'm just we table for, or,
You want to table your own bill right
I
now?
said, I'm
Okay.
saying we can table until.
How can he table, he's not part of the committee?
Well, it's his.
It's
bill.
his, he can table it.
He's just asking.
All right,
Hey, hold on,
No, I'm leaving because I.
I'm leaving too, actually.
A person can always table their own piece of
So we're done
legislation.
then, we're done, he's tabling it.
Okay.
There's no need
Table
to
for
vote,
now, yeah,
there's no
that's
vote
fine.
needed,
No,
he's tabling it.
that's right, okay.
No vote is needed.
I don't want you to go away, man.
Exactly. Why? A lot of negativity. You,
Okay,
So
I
we're
have a
table
motion
for now
to adjourn. so no
until,
one's leaving
until we,
early.
the
Motion
leadership
adjourned.
talks to the mayor's office.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.